Cześć, dzień dobry. Zapraszam na kolejną lekcję polskiego. To jest kanał Polish with Blondes, a ja mam na imię Kasia. Today's lesson is devoted to one English verb, to go, which in Polish is more complicated because in Polish actually you've got 4 verbs that all mean to go, but you need to know which one to use when. So without further ado, zaczynajmy. The 4 verbs I'm talking about, which all mean to go, jeździć, chodzić, jechać, iść. One more time. Jeździć, chodzić, jechać, and iść. I'm sure the question now for you is, when do I use which one? Why does it have to be so confusing? I will try to make it as simple for you as possible. First of all, we'll look at 2 of them. Chodzić, jeździć. Both of these are used when you talk about a repetitive action. So you could use it with words like zawsze, zwykle, czasami, rzadko. The difference between them is that you use chodzić when you're talking about walking, going on foot, which in Polish is na piechotę, or pieszo, pieszo. So in this case, use the verb chodzić. Let me give you a few examples. Chodzę na basen raz w tygodniu. Chodzę na basen raz w tygodniu. Chodzę na basen raz w tygodniu. Ona chodzi do szkoły na piechotę. Sometimes we add it, although chodzę is already on foot, but sometimes we still add this expression na piechotę. Ona chodzi do szkoły na piechotę. Często chodzę na spacer. Często chodzę na spacer. Często chodzę na skle, chodzę do kina raz w tygodniu. A ty? The next verb is jeździć. And the pronunciation is quite difficult. You've got zi followed by dzi. Ździ, ździ. Jeździć. To go. And you use it again for repetitive actions, but this time when you're moving about by vehicle. So you could say, jeżdżę samochodem. I go by car. Jeżdżę samochodem. In the first person singular, notice that jeździć has changed, so that now you've got żdży, żdży, jeżdżę, jeżdżę. Jeżdżę do pracy samochodem. I could also say, codziennie jeżdżę do pracy samochodem. Or another example, jeżdżę na wakacje raz w roku. Jeżdżę na wakacje 2 razy w roku. A ty, jak często jeździsz na wakacje? Jak często jeździsz na wakacje? So using this particular verb, because first of all you're asking someone how often they do things, so repetitive action, and secondly, when you go on holiday, you then are probably not walking, but rather moving by train, by bus, by plane. So then it's jeżdżę, jeżdżę. Let me conjugate these 2 verbs for you, starting with jeździć. Ja jeżdżę, ty jeździsz, on, ona jeździ, my jeździmy, wy jeździcie, oni, one jeżdżą. Also notice how similar is the first person singular, jeżdżę, to the third person plural, jeżdżą. And it's a trick you can use to remember those forms better, because you just change 1 letter. Ja jeżdżę, oni, one jeżdżą. So next one, chodzić. Ja chodzę, ty chodzisz, on, ona chodzi, my chodzimy, wy chodzicie, oni, one. Can you work it out? Chodzą. Oni, one chodzą. Right. So we have the first two verbs covered. Let's move on to the other ones. So now we have iść. Iść. That's your infinitive, to go. And jechać. Jechać. You use both of these when you're talking about what you are doing right now, or you could also use it for the future. So you could say things like, I'm going on holiday next week. Or you could also say, I'm going to the shop now. You will use one of these verbs. Now, when you are moving about on foot again, you use iść. Iść. And then the other one will be when you're moving around by vehicles. So let's start with iść first. For example, when you want to say, we're going, like you say, we're leaving. Idziemy. Idziemy. Or you want to say, I'm going to a shop. Shall I buy you something? Idę do sklepu. Idę do sklepu kupić ci coś. Teraz idę na spacer do lasu. Teraz idę na spacer do lasu. Teraz idziesz ze mną? Idziesz ze mną? So are you going with me? Are you joining me? Idziesz ze mną? But also for the future. Jutro idę na spacer. Jutro idziemy zwiedzać. So again, used for talking about things right now and also for the future. And on foot. So that's iść. Let's conjugate it. Ja idę, ty idziesz, on, ona idzie, my idziemy, wy idziecie, oni, one idą. And moving to the other one, you probably can guess when this one is used. Jechać. Again, it's going to be used for things we're doing right now or in the future. And it's now the difference between iść and jechać is that jechać is used when you're moving around by some vehicles. So you could, for example, say, jutro jadę na wakacje. Jutro jadę na wakacje. Jutro jadę na wakacje. Dzisiaj jadę do pracy autobusem. Dzisiaj jadę do pracy autobusem. Dzisiaj jadę do pracy autobusem, ale zwykle jeżdżę do pracy samochodem. Zwykle jeżdżę do pracy, I usually go, samochodem, ale dzisiaj jadę autobusem. By the way, if you're wondering about those endings, samochodem, autobusem, when you say by car and by bus, that's instrumental case and there is a video about it. You might want to check it out. One more thing I want to mention is the intonation of your voice, which can change what you want to say. So for example, using the verb iść, if you're saying idziemy, idziemy, with rising intonation, it's a proposal, suggestion. Shall we go? Should we go? Idziemy. Whereas when you're saying idziemy, idziemy, it's more like let's go. Idziemy. Although there is another way of saying this, but we often say it this way. And you could use the other one when you go by vehicles in the same way. Jedziemy. So imagine you're preparing for a trip and you're already in a car and now you're saying, are we going? Are we moving now? Jedziemy. Or let's go. Jedziemy. Jedziemy. Time for a little practice now. So on screen you're going to see hints that should give you an idea which verb you want to use and how to build a sentence. And then you have a choice A, B, C, D for the right verb to choose. Try to figure out what the sentence will be in each case. Zaczynajmy ćwiczenie. Let's start this activity. Jutro do pracy samochodem. Which one? Idę, jeżdżę, chodzę, jadę. Jutro jadę do pracy samochodem. Jutro jadę do pracy samochodem. So the word jutro, tomorrow, should suggest that you need to use jadę and also samochodem, jadę rather than idę. Number 2. Zawsze do szkoły piechotą. Which one? Który? A, B, C, D. Zawsze do szkoły piechotą. Now remember, piechotą or na piechotę is on foot. Zawsze chodzę do szkoły piechotą. O, zawsze chodzę do szkoły na piechotę. Numer 3. Teraz ona na basen. Teraz ona na basen. And imagine she's walking na basen to the swimming pool. And you need to remember what teraz means. I hope you do. So which verb would you choose? Teraz ona idzie na basen. Teraz ona idzie na basen. Numer 4. Jutro na wakacje pociągiem. Jutro na wakacje pociągiem. A, B, C czy D? Które? Jutro na wakacje pociągiem. Jadę. Jutro jadę na wakacje pociągiem. Numer 5. Zawsze do pracy tramwajem. Zawsze do pracy tramwajem. Który? A, B, C czy D? Zawsze do pracy tramwajem. Zawsze jeżdżę do pracy tramwajem. Jeżdżę, because it's by vehicles and also is used when you're talking about repetitive action, which the word zawsze, which means always, suggests. Zawsze jeżdżę do pracy tramwajem. Let me know in the comments how you travel to work or how you travel on holiday. Try to use the right verb and I will respond to all the comments. Let's recap then. 4 verbs when you want to say to go in Polish. When you are on foot, you can choose between chodzić for a repetitive action and iść for an action right now or your plans for the future. Then when you're moving by any vehicle, you can say jeździć for a repetitive action again and jechać for a one-off, for something you're doing now or you're planning to do. And let me just give you the first person singular for each of them. Idę, jadę, chodzę, jeżdżę. Also, you'll find a worksheet with more practice. So you'll see some sentences that I've already used, some vocabulary that I've used, and there will be a little bit more to it. So it's worth clicking in the link in the description and downloading PDF. Also, we have worksheets for a lot of other lessons, which you might find helpful. Some of them are for free and some of them are just for a few dollars. That should help you to remember some of our lessons. To wszystko na dzisiaj. Miłego dnia, do zobaczenia, cześć!